Hi, my name is Ray Catola, and you may know me from the such projects as... You may also know me as the host of the internet's favorite harness handicapping show, North American Harness Update, which I host with these two guys, Mike Prebosi and Rod Adams Jr. Every Friday from 9 p.m. Eastern, you can catch us talking harness, handicapping harness, and most importantly, having fun with harness. Can we please get this stuff out of my face? Thank you! North American Harness Update, Fridays from 9 on SRN1. Also download Often Pacing, and using promo code NAHU200K, start your stable with an additional 200,000 coins. You can also catch show archives and racing analysis over at our website, NAHUPicks.com!
NAHU Crew back here again for another edition of The Extra. Ray Catola broadcasting live at the time from the light at the end of the tunnel, joined here by Mike Prebosi and Rod Adams Jr. Now, the last few weeks we've been talking Cal Expo, but their meet's up, which means we got to direct our attention elsewhere for this Extra. And what better place than the Meadowlands racetrack? We're going to look at their late pick four sequence for Saturday, that's today, May 12th, 2018. Races 7 through 10 cover the sequence. It's a 10-race program, $50,000 guaranteed pool, and a 50-cent minimum in a sequence that appears to be very competitive if you can sneak out the right prices, which that also just goes to say for any pick four sequence. Nonetheless, let's roll into it. Seventh race starts the sequence. It's an hours of 8,500. The last 5 starts pace. Field of 7 going postward here. And Mike, a lot of horses coming from different class levels. How do you go about looking at it?
Well, I'm 3 deep, but I do think that the 4 Sweet Rock's going to be extremely difficult to beat. I mean, he's the class of the race. He's been facing, Soho, Wall Street, Better's Edge, Awesomeness. I mean, those are just light years better than these horses, and he's been racing well. Kicked home 26-2 last time. I would expect sub-even money. If you want to try to catch a price, the outside 2, the 6 More Dragon, has been racing at the upper level here, not with much success. Did well whenever he was racing numbers of 8,500, numbers of 11.5 against Lawrencetown Beach. That's a nice horse, but not the same horse that he used to be. He's going to have his hands full with the 4. And then I'll try the 7, Expert Bayama, who was racing numbers of 6 at Pocono from outside post. Did win last time. Had some decent horses, if you look back. Art Scene, 4-card major. Was racing okay, numbers of 3 at Woodbine. This horse has changed hands a couple times recently. The big track may suit him a little better. 4, 6, 7.
Rod, Sweet Rock definitely is a definitive choice. How do you go about with him?
I think you have to use him. He's definitely a player. And, with the class drop, decent post, the horses he's been in against, he's a definite player. So I'm using him. And then I'm going to throw the 1, Brigadier Bronski. Missed that week a couple weeks ago. I was right back on him last week. He won very, very easily. I don't mind the class hike. I think he's good enough. Inside post, he should be sitting on or near the lead, and more than likely going to be looking for a quarter move from Sweet Rock to follow him the rest of the way and pop late and maybe go by him. 1-4.
I don't think he's good enough, especially if he goes off near that 3-1 morning line. That would be atrocious in my book. But we all agree Sweet Rock definitely is the main contender, mostly for his class reasons. Mike touched on the 6 More Dragon. He's one of 3 horses I use along with the 4 Sweet Rock. The third one then I take is the 5 Quality Bud, moving in off a win at 15-1 off a perfect trip against this company last out. Before that was up against Tougher, and he just kind of chased horses there. Point being, he races well at the $8,500 level, and he can race from either up close, stalk a bit, or from off the pace, as exhibited in his last start. So based on wherever he gets away, he should be involved late in the mile given his recent performances. So 4, 5, 6 for me to start out this late pick 4. Moving on now to the second leg, hopefully. I don't know if it's the first division, but I know it's the first leg of the Hot Lead Lake Closer. This is for horses who have not earned $20,000 this season. We got 8 horses lining up, and of those 8, Mike, a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, and I think it's as easy as the 1, Ballarat Boomerang. Just, too much class here again. It's been racing numbers of 14,000 last 5 at Philly and racing well. Prior to that, won a couple races in a row. This horse is just he's just better than these as far as I'm concerned. Draws inside for Zurich. It's just I think a little bit faster than some of these, and the big track won't hurt him at all. Lifetime mark is 150 at Mohawk, so that's a 7/8 mile track. Some of these other ones have been racing numbers of 5,000, numbers of 4, things like that. If you're interested in others, I'm just going to single the one, but I think if the 6 could rebound, that horse might have a chance. Was terrible in claiming races at Yonkers, but woke up a little bit last time at Pocono. I'll single the one, but if you want to increase the ticket, do go 1/6.
Rod, are you as enticed by the 1 as Mike?
Not really. I mean, I like the horse. I think he fits in here very well. Going back to the Meadowlands, he's got a 51 and a piece mile, 5 starts down. This horse definitely fits at this level, especially from the rail and early speed. I think he's a horse you have to use in here. Then I'm also going to use the 2 Mod Jack.
Kobe!
Oh.
Yeah, using him. Grabs an inside draw again. He has early speed as well. I think he protects his inside post, and if he can trip out, I think he's a big threat late in the mile. He did come the last quarter in 27 flat last week. Pretty good mile. I'm going to use him. And then the 6, Prince of Pops, I throw him on. Showed some versatility over at Pocono last week. Had been racing at Yonkers. I think he plays coming to the big track, especially showing that off the pace late move last time. So I throw him on. I think he is coming into form as well. So 1-2-6.
Ballarat Boomerang's back class definitely makes him a contender in this race, and Prince of Pops could potentially catapult off cover if the pace is quick enough. There is a lot of speed here looking at the 7 Century Churchill, as well as Ballarat Boomerang, Majak Kobe, so on, so forth. So it could be set up in Prince of Pops' favor. And the third horse, you go 3 deep in this race. Do you have a Brusier sound effect, Rod? I don't think so. You played for the 76ers back in 76. No one really remembers him now. But the point being is this horse could also just get to the front or sit up close, and if the pace collapses too, he'll at least be in a stalking spot to potentially upset. Or it could go the other way around, where there's a lot of times these races look like they're going to set up for speed, and then just one horse leaves. And it could be this one, because he's wired horses before, up against weaker competition, albeit, so he could potentially be over his head, but he does have the form to potentially perform well here, and that's why you're going to get a decent price on him. So I'm 1-5-6 in the second leg of this pick 4. Third leg is the 9th race. First prelim of the Rainbow Blue. It's for 3-year-old fillies. It's a late closing event versus 12-5. 7 lining up here. And Mike, another stakes event. What do you go for?
Very chalky again. The 6 is extremely obvious. Sand Artist, third back, flew home 26 flat last time. Probably should have won that race. He is 0 for 11, but he has a lot of things going for him here, and any sort of repeat of that last mile is going to make him very tough, I would think, at 3-5 or so. I'm going to try to maybe beat him with the 3, come get the cash. His last 2 miles are pretty good. He ended up in numbers of 5,000 last 5, first start at the Meadowlands, and rallied to be second, to Pass Line Blue Chip, who, she had to face again in numbers of 3-4 from the 8 hole. Still flew home 26-2, but really had no chance in that spot. Another one that's 2 for 16. It's not really a lot of form in the race. Very chalky sequence for me. 3 and 6.
Rod, chalky sequence for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I threw a couple prices in, but this leg in particular, I'm the exact same as Mike. I'm 3-6. I think this race is pretty cut and dry. You look at it. I tried to find a price in here, and I just couldn't do it. The 3, okay race last time. Come home pretty quick, but everything was kind of coming home. So I'm going to stick with using that one. And then I agree with Mike on the 6. The horse should have won last time. But, sharp last quarter. You can't fault what the horse did. I think she's in peak form. Third start off the layoff, 3-6.
Yeah, Sand Artist definitely just appeared to be out-sprinted there as opposed to hanging. So that definitely makes her worth using in this division. The other horse I use, though, because I'm too deep, is the 7 Painted Lady, who's been coming from off the pace over at Yonkers, and to me that just reads that she will prefer racing on a bigger track, although she will be at a bit of a disadvantage if she trails the field because she'll have a lot of ground to make up. However, the bigger track might play in her favor in that sense because it's definitely harder to close on a half than on a mile, and that's because of the turns. So I'm 6-7 in the third leg, in case you didn't know how half miles work. Final leg of the sequence, race number 10, hours of 5,000 the last 5. I think this is the race that makes the pick 4, in all honesty, because Waikiki Beach is the morning line favorite. I don't know if he's going to go off the betting favorite, but I'm definitely against. Mike, what do you do with him?
Not against, because I don't understand why you're against.
Really?
Yeah, this is the weakest field this horse has seen since like the third grade picnic. Racing the Levy was outplaced there. Really, shouldn't have been there. Then, was in here at the Waterburn, caught the 8-hole, no chance there. Went to Yonkers, went to a overnight race and raced okay to be third against Lucien Hanover. That horse would be 1-5 in this race. So, gets back to the bigger track here. Has 25 lifetime wins. I'm sorry, but this horse should beat this field on memory, especially a lot of these ones that have been struggling miserably. It's incredibly hard to leave the horse out. The only other horse I'll use is the 7 Big Stretch Mark, who I liked last time, was 17-1 and just got beat by JoJo Jove. This horse dropped there, got a better trip. I would expect a closer trip again, and should be 1 too early. It's just a matter of when the 6 comes, calling for the front if this horse can kick away a little. I'm 6-7.
You did say Waikiki Beach should win, and I agree, but Rod, his form recently has been fairly abysmal, to put it hardly, but I feel like you also use defensively.
Yeah, I'm 4 deep in here. I'm using him just because, I'm not going to let him beat me, but I'll start with the 1 Trayvon. I like his last mile here at the Meadowlands. It was his first start at the Meadowlands. Jumps up a notch, but with the rail draw, Montrell driving once again for Brenda Teague. This one, he is 0 for the last couple of years, but I think with this spot, inside draw, he should get away pretty close and stay in contention. And that 26 kicker last time was pretty impressive, so I'm using him. And then I'm going to the outside 3, Waikiki Beach. Talked about him. The 7 Big Stretch Mark. We were all kind of on him a little bit last time, and he raced very well. I think this is a similar spot for him. He fits, and he likes to leave and be up close, and I think Eric Abatello puts him in contention. He drives his horse very well. And then the 8 Bruce's Magic, I use him. Gets a driver change from Jimmy Pants to Andrew McCarthy. Drops a notch. I think he fits. He's been racing pretty well. He likes the Meadowlands, so I use him and hope for a trip. Maybe he leaves, maybe he ducks. Things need to work out, I think, for him, though. 1, 6, 7, 8.
Wouldn't it be funny if after all this talk I ended up using Waikiki Beach? I didn't, because I'm not a hypocrite. I stand by my words. I'm too deep in this race, though, and we all agree on Big Stretch Mark. This horse should be forwardly placed, and in a race where it's hard to figure out how exactly the pace is going to set up, it's nice to have a horse that is reliably up close in most of his starts, and Big Stretch Mark is that horse, in case you couldn't tell by my sentence structure there. However, his last start was second off a pocket trip. That was up against JoJo Jove. He still came home strongly, and for that reason, I think he's worth using here. Bruce's Magic's the other horse I also throw on. Drops down from the $7,500 level. He raced that over at Harris Philly off a rail trip. Closed well to finish 4th. And then last time here, wired the field against the bottom level, then moved up to the 8,500, kind of struggled. So maybe the 5,000 would be a nice, sweet middle ground for this horse to compete at. 7-8 for me. Waikiki Beach has to prove something to me. I feel like he's got a lot of improvement here to make in order to be worth using. So here's my pick 4 ticket then. Potentially a good payoff here. I got 4, 5, 6 with 1, 5, 6 with 6, 7 with 7, 8. It's an $18 play for 50 cents. Mike, your ticket.
4, 6, 7 with 1 with 3, 6 with 6, 7. It's $6. I'm hoping it pays 12.
Oh, wow. And Rod, your numbers.
1, 4 with 1, 2, 6 with 3, 6 with 1, 6, 7, 8 at $16.
As said, that's another edition of the North American Harness Update Extra in the books. Make sure you listen to the live shows Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern on 148.ca/1, except next week, Saturday, May 19th, we're live from Woodbine, Mohawk Park. Start time yet to be determined, but it's going to be early. It's an earlier post time because of Preakness Day, and then they have a 10 p.m. fireworks session for all of the people to celebrate Victoria Day weekend. That said, I have been Ray Catolo. He's Mike Rebosi, Rod Adams Jr. We'll see you in Canada next week, and until then, may all of your border crossings be quick and easy.
Ours too.